Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Paul, aka the guy who's a Daemon in the sack. In this video we're breaking down Matt Smith's character in House of the Dragon. Set up to be one of the major antagonists slash anti-heroes, Daemon has a long and storied history in the source material. That means we're gonna get some major moments in the show. Full spoilers ahead, and with us covering the entire character's history, we will be going over both his life and death as well as what happened to those around him. This means that the show may get ruined for you if you go forward, but we'd massively appreciate the thumbs up, and also make sure you subscribe for breakdowns like this every day. With that all out the way, huge thank you for clicking this. Now let's get into our House of the Dragon breakdown. Okay, so Daemon first came to prominence during Chapter 12 of Fire and Blood. Titled Heirs of the Dragon, it recounts all the events of the show, including all its characters. Early on, Daemon is introduced as the heir to King Viserys, but as we see in the show, this gets passed over to his daughter. Daemon was the second son of Prince Daemon Targaryen and his wife Alyssa. Now Daemon in the book is described as being fair and dashing, however he also hides a sadistic side to him that makes him very dangerous. An early paragraph on the character describes him as being someone who cut the hands off of pickpockets, and along with this, he also slit the noses of thieves. Daemon took pleasure from pain, and when he wasn't causing misery, he was hanging out in the brothel with his side chick Myseria, or Myseria. She gets the nickname Misery, basically, because of her reputation, and you can see how the two were attracted to each other. Now they both fell in love, and Myseria ended up becoming pregnant, but we'll talk about this more as we get further into the video. The whole thing became a bit of an entanglement, as Daemon actually married Lady Rhea in order to have some allegiances between the family and those at Runestone. Daemon absolutely hated her, and he called her the Bronze Bitch, with it being purely just a marriage that was based on status. He actually asked his brother if he could renege on it, but Viserys refused, and thus the wedding still went ahead. Now he ended up supporting Viserys in his ascension, as this would allow him to become the next in line. At the celebration at Maidenpool, he ended up riding into the tournament as arrogant as ever. However, he was bested by Criston Cole, which echoes what we see in the first episode of the series. They did change the timeline up a bit here, with the tournament originally happening for the ascension of Viserys, whereas here it's for the birth of his son Balon. Now as we hear in the opening episode, Daemon had many jobs, the first being the Master of Coin. He only did this for a year, and it's during this time that he made an enemy of Otto Hightower. As Hand of the King, Otto convinced Viserys to remove him from the position, and he was then appointed as the commander of the City Watch. Whereas the governing coin job had bored him, he absolutely loved this new role because it allowed him to carry out murder under the guise of law and order. He ruled with passion and ferocity, and quickly became a highly regarded figure amongst the City Watch, which backfired on Otto. He was hoping that this would remove him from a position of true power, but he now had 2,000 men who all loyally served him. Crime fell under his reign, and he ended up giving every guard a golden cloak, which created the idea that they were truly above the peasants. Daemon vastly sought the role as heir to the throne, and as we saw in the show, this was taken away from him after Balon's death. Now in the book and series, he coined the term heir for a day, and Daemon truly believed that this was a higher power, clearing the way for him to ascend. Viserys was pretty annoyed by this though, and he then announced Rhaenyra as the official heir. Daemon ended up leaving with Myseria, and because of this he didn't attend her ceremony in the Red Keep. Now from here the pair flew to Dragonstone, which is where she fell pregnant. He also gave her a dragon egg as well, which was supposed to symbolize the birth of a new child in the family. Typically, these would be placed in the crib alongside the baby, and they were meant to show connection to the royal family. Only thing is, Daemon actually took the one that was meant for Balon, which added further insult to injury. Now Viserys then commanded that he return the egg, and he also said he had to go back to Rhea in the Vale. Daemon ended up abiding by this, and he sent Myseria away to Lies. On this journey, she ended up losing their child, which made Daemon fully start to turn against his brother. He then made an allegiance with Corlys and was declared King of the Stepstones and Narrow Sea. It didn't last too long though, and Daemon became bored with this, and he returned home, during which time he buried the hatchet with his brother. He gave up his kingdom, and he ended up sitting on the small council once more. Now whilst all this was going on, Viserys had married Alicent, and together the pair had kids, which meant that he was now further down the line. Thus he started to really sink his claws into Rhaenyra, and the pair allegedly slept together according to the book. With it just being text, they sort of have two takes on it, with one tale saying that Rhaenyra simply said she loved him, whilst the character Mushroom said he taught her how to seduce champions. Rhaenyra apparently approached Criston Cole, but he rejected her, and many told Viserys that he should execute his brother for treason, but instead he just exiled him. Now shortly after this, Rhea fell from a horse and died, which meant that he could claim the runestone for himself. He was however rejected by the house, and thus he turned his eyes to another kingdom, namely House Velaryon. He asked Lord Corlys for his daughter's hand in marriage, but she was promised to the son of a Sea Lord. Daemon wouldn't let this get in the way though, and he killed him and then married the girl. Now due to it not being pre-approved by the king, the pair then left for Essos and they ended up having 2 twin daughters. Daemon wrote to his brother asking if the pair could receive a royal blessing, and as he believed that fatherhood had changed him, he allowed them to attend. His wife Laena fell pregnant again, but she died in childbirth, and this sent Daemon off the deep end even further than before. Mysterious fires started to spring up, which he was suspected for, and he once more continued on his quest for power. Unbeknownst to King Viserys, he married his daughter Rhaenyra in secret, and it was believed that Daemon also killed her previous husband to create an opening for him. The pair had 2 sons, Prince Aegon and also Viserys. It gets confusing, lots of people called Viserys. Now, at one point there was a ton of people in line for the throne, and when Viserys died of an illness, the Dance of the Dragons began. This is basically used as a term for when everyone fights it out for the throne, and it led to a lot of bloodshed. It also saw the Blacks and Greens come to prominence, which were 2 sides that showed support for the people that they believed should be next on the throne. Alicent was prominent in the Greens, and she pushed the idea that her son Aegon was the true heir, whilst the Blacks supported Rhaenyra and Daemon. The latter had another daughter, who was stillborn, with the blame for this being placed on the Greens. Slowly Daemon called together the houses that hadn't pledged loyalty to them, and he tried to gain a vast majority. The crown was smuggled out of the capital under Daemon's command, and it was then placed on his wife's head. From here on out he led several attacks on the Greens, and there was lots of infighting within the family due to the Targaryens gaining allegiances with both sides. Aegon was also announced as the king, and the family went to war with itself. Now due to them all possessing dragons, the entire landscape ended up becoming a hellscape covered in ash. Daemon also started to have an affair with a woman called Nettles. Myseria popped up out of nowhere and told Rhaenyra about this, and she ended up ordering the death of Nettles. Daemon found out about this in advance, and he sent her away on a ship before announcing his own departure. He knew it wouldn't be long before he was found though, and eventually he was tracked by the character Aemond, who arrived on his dragon Vhagar. They battled with Daemon and Caraxes, which led to them all apparently dying. In the air, Daemon ended up jumping from his dragon Caraxes to Vhagar, and he killed both, which caused them to plummet into a lake below them. Whilst Aemond's body was recovered though, Daemon's never was, and though it was thought he died, you never bloody know. Anyway, that's everything you need to know about the character and his apparent full life. Let me know below what elements of this that you want to see in the show, and I hope as always that you enjoyed the video. We are running a competition right now and giving away 3 copies of Top Gun Maverick on the 15th of September, and all you have to do to be on the chance of winning is like the video, make sure you subscribe with notifications on, and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the character. We pick the comments at random at the end of the month, and the winners of the last one are on screen right now, so if that's you, then message me on Twitter at HeavySpoilers. If you want something else to watch, then make sure you check out our breakdown of the first episode, which will be linked on screen right now. We go over all the major characters in it, the hidden details as well, and how it's all setting things up for the future. Hopefully I see you over there right after this, but if not, enjoy the rest of your week. Take care, peace.